Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, May 12th. Good morning. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing fantastic and having a great Tuesday morning. Please make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe on your way in. Hang on. Good morning, Shell. Good morning, Outspoken. Hey T. Good morning. Good morning, Boo. How are you? Um, Good morning to everybody. It is good seeing you. I hope you guys missed me last week. Hey Tay Bay. I hope you guys missed me last week. I missed you guys, but I had so many things going on that I didn't want to just squeeze in a show. I like to spend my hour and 15 minutes thoroughly with you guys, and I felt like if I would have went live, I would have been squeezing in a show. For all of the moms, happy belated Mother's Day. I hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. Um, I celebrated with my mom and my siblings and Jax, of course. We went to his favorite restaurant, might I add, Bonefish Grill. Had a great time, laughs, and we exchanged gifts. And I gifted my mom, shout out to her if she's in the clouds. But one of my classes, I had to profile a woman. It could either be somebody in history, it could be a famous person, or someone you personally knew who has contributed to society, your life, and have a educational background, things of that nature, whatever. So I profiled my mom. It's about a 10-page paper. It took me about 2 weeks to get it down the way that I wanted to, but I presented her with a formal copy of it. And she almost brought the tears. We hugged very long. So needless to say, it was a success. Okay. Needless to say, it was a success. I enjoyed writing it for her. Yeah. And, our parents are our first teacher. So sometimes we have to remind our parents, we have to affirm them, acknowledge them, and give them their flowers while they're living. And so I wanted to do that for her. Also, the semester is over with. I finished this semester with a 3.75. Yes. GPA. I got a 4.0 this semester, so I did make the chancellor's list. Yes. This was a goal of mine. I graduate next year. This time next year, I will be graduating. So I'm well on my way to graduate with several honors. So I'm proud of myself for that. So don't ever let anybody tell you can't do something, be something, or achieve something, because you can. And it's never too late to start, and there's never a right time to start. Just do it. Just do it, and God will take the rest. But anyway, I hope you guys had a great weekend celebrating your mothers, your loved ones, and things of that nature. But let's get into what we get into, right? All right. Welcome to Politics in Plain English, where we talk current events, what's going on, what they mean, and why, right? So today's show, we're going to really highlight not only how racist, but how insane this administration really is, and how they're spending more money than a little bit. Sorry, I had a bracket change Friday, and it's bothering me. We're gonna see just how crazy this administration is. But first things first, we know we like charts, right? We like to go over charts. So the first chart is majority of Americans disapprove of how Trump has handled every major issue. The cost of living, inflation, the situation in Iran, relations with U.S. allies, the economy, taxes, immigration, and the U.S.-Mexico border. Might I add about the border? All of that talk about the border, we're going to build a wall. Well, the wall that was built was only a couple miles. Good morning, Cayos. Was only a couple of miles. So that was a hoax. And listen, we're going to go through everything that he sold the quote unquote MAGA on to believe some of this outrageous stuff, right? They said they was going to build this gigantic wall. That did not happen, right? They said that they were going to make the economy better. That has not happened. They said the cost of living was going to go down. That has not happened. They said we would have better insurance. That has not happened. They said it would be more jobs. That has not happened. That has not happened at all. What has happened is this. So we have this gigantic gold statue that has been built, and pastors, hey boo, pastors were present for the unveiling of this, and they're saying that Donald Trump is the most Christ-like president, which is blasphemy on its head. And if you noticed, let me make this a little bit bigger for you, maybe. And if you noticed on the side, hey, Tweety, and if you notice the circled person there, this is Brock Pierce. He actually cut the ribbon of the Trump statue down in Doral, Florida. He is also Jeffrey Epstein's friend. And you would think that Donald Trump would want nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, right? You would think he would want to be so far away from that. But here he is, one of Jeffrey Epstein's closest friends. If you can see there as well, there is an Orthodox Jew person, 2 people down from the circle redhead that is there help cutting the red ribbon here. There is some coon to the right of him, or actually his left, our right. These are pastors, clergymen. Good morning. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That are here for, in the Bible, it talks about false idols. It talks about the dangerousness of this, but yet here we are. Okay. Here we are. We are at all of these places. And these folks, when I say have lost their mind, they have lost their mind. Okay. And over the weekend, there was a pastor that came online and decided to say that this was Bible, okay? That this was literally Bible. And I just don't understand where these people get these things from. Like, I just don't. This name is Pastor Robert Jeffries. And he stated that Trump has a better understanding of the Bible than most. And this is also, we have to also remember, this is someone who could not even hold the Bible right side up, and had stated that his favorite Bible verse was his favorite chapter in the Bible was 2 Corinthians. Just take a look.
President Trump has a better understanding, and he told us that.
Hold on. Let me take this out. All right. I want y'all to hear this man on Fox News.
And he told us that Iran was within weeks of getting a powerful weapon that would destroy Israel, much of the Middle East, and could bring great harm to America. And he had no choice but to act. And I thanked him then for having the courage to fulfill his God-given responsibility to protect our nation. And you know, the great irony is it looks like President Trump has a better understanding of what the Bible teaches about the role of government than the Pope has. And he told us that Iran was within.
He has a better understanding of the Bible than the Pope. Okay. I just want you to hear this. Just listen.
Is it looks like President Trump has a better understanding of what the Bible teaches about the role of government than the Pope has.
A better understanding of the Bible and the role of government than the Pope. Just let that sink in. The Pope. The Pope. You know, the one that they threatened to pick their side, or it could be consequences. The Pope washes people's feet. The Pope is of service. The Pope is of equal rights and representation. The Pope is for feeding the hungry, housing the homeless, giving immigrants a home. The Pope that actually does things that are in the Bible. But this pastor here is stating that that Donald J. Trump, who is building statues of himself, who calls other countries shithole countries, who was just saw last week calling a reporter a bitch on live camera, rolling feed, who has been sued and been found liable of sexual harassment, knows the Bible better than the Pope, the man who did not even put his hand on the Bible when he was sworn in. This is how crazy these people are. Okay, this is how crazy these people are. They're so crazy that they become braggadocious. Braggadocious, the agricultural secretary, is bragging about kicking 4.5 million people off of SNAP and stated that is just the beginning. That is just the beginning. Okay? And mind you, it is their folks that are on SNAP far more than Black people. But because Ronald Reagan did a masterful job at painting the welfare queen as a Black mother, hey, room shaker. As a Black mother, they identify SNAP benefits entitlements to Black people when it is more white folk that are on SNAP benefits. Also, we have RFK. You know, the henna virus that is out, you know, that is spreading rampantly, starting on cruise ships. Hey, Sky Swizzy. You know that? Well, RFK, this is how incompetent these folks are. The incompetency of this administration. Fired the CDC cruise sanitation inspectors, meaning these are a team of people that go through and inspect these cruise ships to make sure they are being sanitized properly. Because they are close quarters, and when you're in close quarters with people, what happens? People will get sick and the germs will pass, a virus will pass. Think about if you have kids, right? Those of you that are in here who have children. When they go to school, the beginning of the school year, the kids get sick. And what happens, because they're in a classroom in close proximity to each other, they pass it to each other. And then what? Then they bring it home. And if it's multiple of you living at home, you're going to pass it between each other for a little bit, right? And so it's just circulating around. The same thing with the cruise ship. Now we have an outbreak because this incompetent administration is firing things that keep us safe and also healthy. The same thing with the pandemic response team that we had. COVID-19 was never supposed to spread the way that it did, but Donald Trump he ripped up the pandemic response notebook and got rid of the actual team that is put into place to get in front of these things. And we had a mass outbreak, which caused mass casualties. But let me tell you guys something, okay? Let me let you in on something. Well, and this is my conclusion. The reason why he let it spread crazily is because, number one, his daughter, Ivanka Trump, actually bought stock into ventilators, did an offshore country to buy up all of these ventilators, to then guess who had to buy them? Hospitals, because hospitals didn't have enough ventilators because they weren't prepared in this way. And at first they thought to put people on the ventilators to help them breathe, but then they further found out they couldn't take them off the ventilators without the folks dying, right? And guess what else she put her money in? She also invested in a casket company. Because when people are dying, what has to happen? They have to be buried. And they're either going to be buried, hi, Angela, they're either going to be buried by cremation, hey, brown sugar, either buried by cremation or in a casket at a funeral home. So she invested her money in casket companies and ventilation companies. These are the grifters. They don't mind us dying as long as they're making a profit off of it. Okay? They don't care about that. The same way, look, again, they're the grifters of politics, right? The GOP is also begging their party to overlook the extreme high prices of everything and saying, just overlook us and please reelect us. Good morning, Bizone. Please reelect us, please reelect us, please reelect us. We don't care that you're having to pay an astronomical amount for gas. We don't pay that. We don't care that a loaf of bread is $7.25, even though you only make $19 an hour. We don't care that bread is that high. Please keep us in office, right? And we're going to talk about this gerrymandering thing, but I also have a solution for that too. But they're like, please, gas, it may cost you $100 to fill up on regular, but please keep us in office. Keep us being able to have market predictions, get free health care, because they're still on the Affordable Care Act, okay? Please allow us to still get free health care, a pension for the rest of our lives, right? And above a living wage, while you are down there making pennies to the dollar and scraping for scraps and don't know whether to pay your light bill, your gas bill, the rent, or to put gas in your car to get to work. Thank you, Benz. This is what we are dealing with, folks. Okay? And because the economy is so bad, because things have skyrocketed so much, they are going to try to cheat this election because they cannot win off of merit alone. So this man, the grifter in chief, is now talking about he is going to deploy army in every single state to oversee elections. To oversee elections. So what he's going to try to do is use this as an intimidation tactic so people do not show up to polls. This is what he's trying to do because his approval rating, the GOP's approval rating, is so low that they cannot win a free and fair election. But I also have news for them as well. They're still not going to win. You know why they're still not going to win, no matter how much they gerrymander. Hey, Rainy Putz, no matter how much they gerrymander the districts, their own caucus is revolting against them in front of our very eyes. And see, we have got to not only vote out the governors, vote out the mayors, vote out the congressmen and women, we've also got to reimagine the judges. And one thing I'm so impressed about Virginia, see that Virginia judge who's up for re-election, who was bought and paid for and did not follow the letter of the law, right? Now has put a nuclear option into Governor Spanberger's hands. And what is the nuclear option it is, Kay? The nuclear option is the fact that she can lower the retirement age for judges and wipe them all out with the stroke of a pen. And see, this is why they keep misstepping and miscalculating instead of following the will of the people, right? Because the will of the people said, yes, we want to redistrict the way that we want to redistrict. The will of the people won. They don't want to follow the will of the people, and they want to weaponize their judges' seats and the pen of a judge, right? So since they want to weaponize it, now governors can lower the retirement age of Supreme Court justices in their state and can wipe out a whole bench and put new names on the list, right? They can have special elections, okay? And usher in a wave of younger, more progressive judges, right? And then take that same stroke of a pen and increase the retirement age, put it back up to now there is a liberal There is a liberal court system for a very long time. Mark my words, what is going to happen. Mark my words. The same way that there is a bill that is in the works to lower the Supreme Court, the federal Supreme Court, to 18 years, and that would wipe out 4 of the judges. 4 of them. And this is why I'm so mad at RBG. And a lot of people celebrate RBG. Oh, she was for women's rights. Let me go ahead and tell y'all something about her. She was for women's rights as long as you were white. I said it. She was. Because Barack Obama had asked her to retire because he had a Black woman sitting in the wing that he was going to put her in that seat. He would have had 2 appointees, actually, if it wasn't for fallen Mitch McConnell. And she said no. And then look what happened. She died and gave Donald Trump the pick when she should have retired and put somebody else in there that was younger and far more progressive. So yeah. I mean, she's okay, but she ain't whatever. Sidebar. Racism is still expensive. And you know why racism is expensive? The Labour government over there in the UK is now banning far-right agitators from traveling to Britain because they said that they are a threat to their communities and spread hate in their streets. Racism is expensive. And I keep telling you guys that racism is absolutely expensive. And you've got to start believing me when I say this stuff, that racism is very, very expensive. Not only is it expensive, most of these folks are highly incompetent when it comes to what things are and what they stand for. They're highly incompetent. They don't, they can't make their way out of a paper bag, to be honest with you. And I'm going to show an alarming recording came out today talking about Hakeem Jeffries. And it is absolutely why I keep saying racism is never dead, and it was the foundation of this company and is still the foundation of this company today, this country today. Racism never went anywhere. People were just a little bit ashamed of being racist. And then what happened was they were shamed. And now, because we have a president who is openly racist and doesn't care about your racism, about being racist, the gloves are off. So we have in Virginia, a House representative of Virginia, Jen Kiggins, who had an awful lot to say. Hey, Miss LA, thank you so much. Who had an awful lot to say about Hakeem Jeffries, who happens to be a Black man, who happens to be the minority speaker, who happens to be the predecessor of Nancy Pelosi. Guys, this is real disgusting here, okay? Just get ready for it. Get ready for it. Just get ready for it.
Want to see something racist?
If Hakeem Jeffries wants to be involved in Virginia politics, then I suggest he does what a bunch of New Yorkers are doing. Leave New York, move down here to Virginia, run for office down here. You can represent us. If not, get your cotton picking hands off of Virginia.
That's right. Ditto. Yes. Yes to that.
That was Representative Jen Kiggins, a 54-year-old Republican congresswoman from Virginia. Wait, she's 54? Only 54? Okay, well, let's just move on. No, I'm just being petty. She represents a district in Virginia, which you can see here, which includes parts of Virginia Beach. It's a pretty affluent district that's right on the Atlantic. She made her comments on a morning radio show in Virginia and immediately caught hell on social media, to which she responded, well, this is precisely what's wrong with Democrats. Every lie and distortion is intended to distract from getting their hats handed to them. And the Virginia Supreme Court's clear message, stop trying to rig our elections. The radio host should not have used that language, and I do not and did not condone it. It was obvious to anyone listening that I was agreeing Hakeem Jeffries should stay out of Virginia. Democrats are trying to destroy Virginia's court because they disagree with it. That is the real danger to our community. Yeah, bitch. We heard what you were agreeing with. Let's listen again, shall we?
If Hakeem Jeffries wants to be involved in Virginia politics, then I suggest he does what a bunch of New Yorkers are doing. Leave New York, move down here to Virginia, run for office down here. You can represent us. If not, get your cotton picking hands off of Virginia.
Get your cotton picking hands off of Virginia.
That's right. Ditto. Yes. Yes to that.
Yeah. So whatever. So here is that point where we discuss the fact that the best revenge is unemployment for the person who's offended us. And so let's take a look at this district, shall we? Get to know a district. Congressional District 2. Where does it score on the level of Republicanness or Democraticness? Let's take a look at this chart. Now, if you are an R plus 40, meaning Republicans typically win the race outright, and Donald Trump won in that district by 40 points or more, you'd be at the top of the scale. If you are more Democratic,
Y'all get the picture. They say get his cotton picking hands out of Virginia politics. If that's not racist, if that is not racist, I don't know what is. If that is not racist, let's look at something else here. Let's see what this might be, because they love to say that we're crazy, right? Listen to this lady. Okay, she is a right winger. And she is stating that the KKK is led by the left, meaning Black people, is led by the progressives. The KKK now. The KKK who fought in Civil War to keep slavery and slavery. The KKK who now, they're calling for the abolishment of the 14th Amendment. And if you don't know what the 14th Amendment is, we'll break that down in just a second. But listen to this crazy shit. These folks have lost their mind and they're raging right now. So if that wasn't racist, take a look at this.
First of all, the Aryan Nation, the Nazis, and the KKK are not far-right organizations. Those are far-left organizations, and they always have been. The KKK was created and started by the Democrats in the United States to prevent Blacks from being able to participate in the political arena, if you will. So I'm going to say they've never been associated with the right. They've always been associated with the left.
Okay, let me give you guys a history lesson. So before the Civil War, Democrats and Republicans used to be opposite. But at the time, Democrats had right-leaning policies, where the Republicans had more of the left-leaning policies, until it flipped. So when we talk about policies and ideals, yes, it may have been because of the label of the name was different, but the policy and the ideals of how they see things are still the same. And guess who has adopted the policies and the ideals of the KKK? Take a wild guess.
Do I think that there are racists out there? I do, Winston. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist, number one, on the right. And
it doesn't exist on the right. It doesn't exist on the right when we just saw footage of a Republican congresswoman and a radio host saying that Cory Booker should keep his cotton-picking hands out of Virginia politics. You see how crazy this is? Do you see how backwards this is? They can't even own up to their own shit. See, I would respect them so much if they said, yeah, I'm racist, because then I know what I'm dealing with, but they would rather be sheep in wolves' clothing. They would rather be that. These people have lost their ever-loving minds. These folks are not well. They're not well. When I say not well, they are not well. Okay? They are so not well. And you know who else is not well? Let me show you. A whole mess. Hey, TaylorMade. It's just a mess. You know who else is not well? The president in office is not well, because he's talking about people don't know that the sea is water. Let that sink in for you guys. People don't know that C is water. Check this out, okay? Just check this out. He literally says people don't know that C is water because when you say C, people don't understand that it is water.
That right, Paul, with respect to drugs coming in by sea, meaning drugs coming in by water, by the ocean, by the sea. A lot of people don't know what I mean by sea. They think.
What? Rewind the tape.
Water, by the ocean, by the sea. A lot of people don't know what I mean by sea. They think I'm talking about vision. I'm not. I'm talking about sea. Like
they think I'm talking about vision. You know, glasses, eyeballs, you know what I'm saying, that you use, you know, your eyelids blink, you know what I mean, when your eyes are a little dry, but they blink all, you know, they're meant to blink. Your body is created to blink, to keep your eyes moisturized. You know, some people have to have drops to go in their eyes to keep their eyes moisturized because they have issues with, you know, tears. You know, sometimes people have to wear glasses or contacts, or sometimes, you know, when it's bright outside, we put on shades, you know what I'm saying? So that we can see outside, so that our vision is not impaired. He is saying that when he is talking about ships and drugs coming across the sea, let's use context clues here. We clearly know we're not talking about vision when you say that drugs are coming across the sea and the ocean. An ocean is a body of water. Okay? And this man thinks people are talking about vision, or is it he thinks you're talking about vision? I bet he doesn't know the difference between there and there. Okay? But okay.
the sea. These gains have been the result of, right, Paul, with respect to drugs coming in by sea, meaning drugs coming in by water, by the ocean, by the sea. A lot of people don't know what I mean by sea. They think I'm talking about vision. I'm not. I'm talking about sea.
They think I'm talking about vision. My God, today. My God, today. And if that wasn't enough, listen at this off the wall. Exactly, Sally O'Malley. Where do you get C and C to ship drugs? Like, and then you say ocean. Ocean. Ocean is a body of water. Ocean does not, I'm never going to think an ocean is seeing something. Like, you just can't make this shit up. You cannot, when I say you can't make this shit up, you cannot make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. Like, this is crazy. Now, listen at this unhinged, because, you know, he always loved to be talking in front of the camera, right? Talking about we've taken people that were dead. Okay. I need you guys to hear this. And how Delulu this man is, and this was 11:40 a.m. in the morning yesterday that he's talking like this. Like, just listen to this. Just take a listen. Just like listen. Let's listen.
Years, 10 years. By the way, we think we've cut it in half, but you do need a period of time. Without waiting many years, we know the drug works because we've taken people that were dead. We had a person given the last rites, gone. The kids are crying, and started them on this drug, and the person became better. It works, you know, and some don't work. But you learn really fast. It's called the ultimate test, I think, right? You know, they test all these things. They use animals all over the place. They use everything to test. Person's going to die. So
Y'all, what the hell? He's talking about a drug. And he's saying we've taken dead people. God. Just listen to it one more time.
years, 10 years, by the way, we think we've cut it in half, but you do need a period of time. Without waiting many, many years, we know the drug works because we've taken people that were dead. We had a person given.
So what he's apparently saying is that he's taken someone that was dead and revived them. Where kids were crying, like, what is this? Are we in a horror movie? Like, are we in Universal Studios on a horror ride and we're just literally waiting for this ride to be over with? This is the world's worst ride ever created. This is the president of the United States, the president of the free people, the free world. Okay? Talking like this. We've taken dead people.
The last rites gone. The kids are crying and started them on this drug.
He says started them on this drug, but they were dead. So you're going to start a dead person on drugs? We're going to start a dead person on drugs? What? Are we okay? Is this thing on? We're going to start a dead person on drugs? Raise your hand if you've ever had an ill family member who has passed away in the hospital. I have. And I can remember her final breaths and things like that. And once they pronounce you deceased, the monitors come off, everything is silenced, and it's a chilling feeling, right? But nowhere are they going to go and grab a drug to inject you once you are dead, once you are pronounced dead, when the doctor calls it. Are we the fuck okay? Like, are we okay? No, seriously, are we okay?
The person became better. It works, and some don't work. But you learn really fast. It's called the ultimate test, I think, Craig. They test all these things. They use animals all over the place. They use everything to test. Person's going to die. So years.
Person is going to die. The person is dead, and then they give them meds. Do y'all understand how unwell and unserious this administration is? Like, come on. You cannot make this up by a long shot. Like, you just absolutely cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. Just like, he says the quiet part out loud, right? He also acknowledged that the acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, has been keeping him out of jail. So not only are we injecting dead people with medicine, the acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, who was his personal lawyer, who is now the top cop, the one who went down there to that Texas jail, Ghislaine Maxwell, went to go see Ghislaine Maxwell and said, oh, she's telling the truth, when we know she has been caught in lie after lie after lie after lie, right? Hey, doll baby, crazy, right? Just very unwell, right? Listen at his rants. We know this man is sick and we know this man has dementia. Okay. We know that this man is sicker than sick. Like he just is. And he's going to talk about Todd Blanche keeping him out of jail. Like, where are his meds? Nurse, he's out again. That's where I am with this. Nurse, he's completely out. D. Kendall, sick, beyond sick. Okay. Just peep this out. Just peep this. Y'all listen to this man. Just listen to him. He always says the truth somewhere.
Again, Mark Wayne, you love standing up. We have a man who's doing a great job, I'll tell you. I knew it because he kept me out of jail for years. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, he kept me out of jail.
He kept me out of jail for years. I have one question for you guys. If a lawyer is keeping you out of jail, does that mean you've committed crimes? I want to know if a attorney is keeping you out of jail. I'm going to put up a poll. If an attorney is keeping you out of jail, does that mean you committed a crime? Option 1, hell yeah. I'm going to put a 1 in the chat and hell no. 2 in the chat. So put a 1 in the chat for hell yeah. And put a 2 in the chat for hell no. Because if your attorney has to keep you out of jail, are we okay? Like, no, seriously. Are we okay? People, like, are we okay? Like, no. Seriously, are we okay? There is no way that we can absolutely be okay, right? Like, there's no way that you can be okay, but let's finish the rest of it. Let's finish the rest of it.
Would indict me left and right. The crooked Democrats, it's amazing. They impeach me, they indict me, and then when I get in office, if I say something like, well, maybe that should be looked into. Weaponization. I go through court cases. I win them, but because they were...
He wins court cases, which we know is not true because he has yet to be successful with James Comey. He has yet to be successful with Letitia James. He even is talking, he tweeted in the middle of the night that former President Barack Hussein Obama should be locked up for treason. And that is one person you don't want to touch. I think we all know we'll burn this bitch down. But anyway.
Fake indictments. But when I even mentioned, like I said the other day, that some of that stuff should be looked into, they said, weaponization. He's a terrible human being. Weaponization, right, Cash? They blame me for weaponization. They are a crooked bunch. And we want to keep it the way.
They are a crooked bunch, says the 34-count felon. Says the 34-count felon. Okay. The 34-count felon is stating that the folks on the left are a crooked bunch. Boy, you can't make this shit up if we try. Just let's listen to the last little bit.
It is what we have now. We have great law enforcement now. We have law enforcement that loves our country, not law enforcement that's sick and dangerous.
Law enforcement that loves our country, yet ICE agents have killed people, have raped people, have impregnated teenagers, have left people on the floors to sleep, not allowing them to bathe, doesn't have adequate water, doesn't have access to food, won't let them access their lawyers, won't give them due process. They have pulled people out of their homes in the middle of the night in their underwear in the cold, including children, and zip tying them and sitting them on the curb to then see if they are citizens or not. Have killed people in broad daylight, have beat people in broad daylight, have made it so that you can stop and frisk somebody for looking or sounding Hispanic. And they claim they're taking out criminals when all actuality, ICE is the Proud Boys and the KKK. And more ICE agents and more January 6ers are now being found guilty of heinous crimes such as child pornography, rape and molestation, abusing their partners, domestic violence. They are being found guilty at an alarming rate. And he claims he hires the best and the brightest. We know Pete Hegseth, who is running the Pentagon right now, is a drunk and cheated on his wife and impregnated the woman that he cheated on his wife with and had a side chick child. The same way Donald Trump did. You have Kash Patel, who is a known drunk. But he hires all of the good people, right? But he says that everybody else is crooked. Everybody else is dangerous and demonstrative. Everybody else, good morning, Sean. Everybody else is to blame. But this man said his attorney has kept him out of jail for several years. Okay, for several years. For several years. Have kept them out of jail. Boy, if I know my attorney has kept me out of jail, that means I know I've been on some bullshit. That means I know that I have committed crimes that my attorney even had to keep me out of jail from. Okay? Because we know he has been found guilty of more than enough things. He's actually guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors and treason because we know he sold his secrets he sold the U.S. secrets to Russia. We do know that. That is why Iran knows where all of our hot spots are, because Russia is telling them how to get it. Also, sidebar, Saudi Arabia has also kicked America out of Saudi Arabia. We can't use their airspace. We can't use their base. None of that stuff. They said, leave us out of it. Don't come over here with your crap. But this is the person that these folks elected in office. This is the one. This is supposed to be the Captain Save-A-Ho. This was the solution to save us from Sleepy Joe. But I keep saying it over and over. I would rather Sleepy Joe, because at least we can sleep at night. Because every morning we wake up, it is something else. Every morning we wake up, gas prices are higher. Every morning we wake up, there's something new in the Middle East. Every morning we wake up because now what has happened, they don't even know how to get out of this war, right? This choice war that they chose, they don't know how to get out of it, right? So instead of just saying, you know what, we're not doing a good job here, we've got little hands Marco Rubio, because remember, that's what Donald Trump used to call him. And remember, Marco Rubio used to say vicious and vile things about Donald Trump, and now is in lockstep with him. And he has, I'm telling you right now, his political career is over with. He can call it a wrap. This will be the last big thing that he's in. He's not going to win the presidency. He's never going to be a senator. He's never going to be anything. Most of these people are going to find it hard to find jobs and actually live a peaceful civil life because you are a public figure and on the face of this administration, and this folks are not going to forget, and they're not going to let you see peace and not going to let you know peace because you let us. So now you've got folks talking about, good morning, AK. Now you got little Marco Rubio talking about we want to take the Straight to Harm News back to what it was. Well, then why did you come out of the JJOAC? I think that's the acronyms for it. That is what Obama put in place to keep Iran from building a nuclear missile. Why did you pull out of that? Oh, we know why you pulled out of that, because a black man successfully put something together without dropping one missile, one bomb, putting one drone strike over any of the things. Didn't have to bomb a hospital, didn't have to bomb an all-girls school and kill everybody in it. He didn't have to do any of that stuff. He sat them down and came to the table and brought everybody to the table and had universal inspectors from all over the world to show up and inspect and to measure enrichment of uranium to make sure that it's kept it at a safe level. And Iran respected it. Now they want to go back to what it used to be when the Strait didn't belong to anybody. But I highly doubt Iran is really going to come to the table with anything. And now the egg is on this administration's face because they had no need. There was no need, absolutely no need for this war. No need for this war. But because they're following Bibi Netanyahu, and I'm going to show you what he said, because as long as Bibi Netanyahu is saying the things that he is saying, we will continue and remain in this choice war, which is going to destabilize the global economy.
As President Trump has said, and the facts clearly bear out, the United States of America holds all the cards. There is no scenario here.
We hold all the cards. We hold all the cards when it's our military troops that are dying. It is our gas that is going up. It is destabilizing us. Iran is calling the shots. If Iran doesn't want a boat to go through that water, it does not. If Iran wants to charge you $2 million for that vessel to go through, we've already seen that that has been successful with the help of China. The United States does not hold all the cards because we don't even have an exit strategy. We have no exit strategy, none. And sometimes you just got to say, listen, this was a bad choice and we're pulling everybody out. And we're going to reset everything the way. But we know this administration can't do that because the nature of the beast. He has to look like the biggest winner when really he is the biggest loser.
In which if they decide to join a ladder of escalation, they wind up getting the last say. But our preference is for these straits to be opened to the way they're supposed to be opened, back to the way it was. Anyone can use it, no mines in the water, nobody paying toll.
Back to the way it was. Back to when Barack Obama was the president of the United States and at the time, Secretary of State John Kerry went over there and sat with the Iranians. Okay. They sat with the UN and came up with a plan to make sure, that they did not get a nuclear warhead, that they did not enrich uranium levels past a certain point. Now they want to go back when there was nothing wrong with the agreement that was in place, and that agreement was set for 20 years. And in 20 years, you could come back to the negotiation table and re-sign it for another 20 years. And yes, give them some economic relief for it. Money moves. So if we can make a trade deal with them to help their people, to help stimulate their economy, why not when it keeps global order, global peace? Nobody, not W, not Senior, okay, not Biden, not Obama, nobody wanted to go to war with Iran because Iran is knock if you buck, run up and get done up. As you can see, they are antagonizing and humiliating this administration every turn they get. If you go on social media, the Legos movie, their AI videos, all of that stuff, they know exactly how to get underneath his skin, and it's working. No one wanted to go to war with Iran because we knew what that meant. It would destabilize the global economy. As James Carville say, it's the economy, stupid. Okay? But yet, this is who's really running the shots. I want you guys to listen to this 60 minutes. Bibi Netanyahu, okay? I can't stand this man. He is the one that is running the shots. This is the reason why we are in this war right now. This man, first of all, let me educate about him. This man is not Jewish. He is Polish. He is not even from Israel. He's not even from there. He's Polish. Okay. Polish. And Israel of biblical times is not the Israel of today. This man has starved out Gaza, has prevented aid from going to that country. They have sent people into Gaza and Lebanon to steal their homes and tell people, kicking people out. Armed guards are going and kicking folks out of their homes. The same thing that is happening in Brooklyn, New York. Yeah. They think they're entitled to a land that they're not entitled to. And they think that they're entitled to a right of life and other people are not. That is not Bible. So please stop the rhetoric with the, oh, we've got to protect Israel. No, we don't, because Israel doesn't protect people. They're not even walking in the faith of the Bible. They're not even scripturally acting out what is in scriptures. Bibi Netanyahu is a terrorist. And the only reason why he wants this war to go on, remember, he was found in contempt, meaning he's supposed to be jailed. He was found guilty. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And as long as this war is going on, they cannot arrest him. His people want him out. But as long as he knew he could go to Donald Trump, and he went through Lindsey Graham, for all of my South Carolinians, he went and talked to Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham coached him on how to talk to Donald Trump, giving him a bunch of pleasantries like he's 2 years old, and tell him, you need to do this, you need to do that, and probably told him, this way we can take over the Gaza resort there, because Donald Trump also has his eyes on the Gaza Strip as well. So this man is okay with displacing a whole civilization. Please tell me where that is biblical. Please show me a Bible verse where it says that is of God's walk. I want to know. And I don't care whether you use the Quran, King James. I don't care. Show me a Bible verse that says wiping out a civilization is God's way. by man. Show me by man where it says that. But this is the man that's in charge.
Is the war with Iran over? And if it isn't, who will decide when it is?
I think it accomplished a great deal, but it's not over because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken.
Mind you, Donald Trump said they obliterated their bunkers and there's nothing left. That's what they said when we bombed them many months ago. They said they obliterated everything and there was nothing left. They depleted them of everything. There is nothing there. They can't even make anything. It set them 5-10 years back. Do y'all remember that? I distinctively remember when they said that. They said there is nothing left. They've taken out all of their supplies. They've taken out scientists. They've taken out all of this stuff, right? This man is saying, no, there's still more to get.
Enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran. There's still enrichment sites that have to be dismantled. There are still proxies that Iran supports. There are ballistic missiles that they still want to produce. Now, we've degraded a lot of it, but all of that is still there, and there's work to be done.
How do you envision the highly enriched uranium will be removed from Iran?
You go in and you take it out.
You go in and you take it out. My God, today. This man is a monster. You go in and you take it out.
With what? Special forces from Israel, special forces from the United States?
Well, I'm not going to talk about military means, but what President Trump has said to me, I want to go in there. And
what President Trump has said to me is, I want to go in there, meaning our military troops are going to go in there. That's what he means.
I think it can be done physically. That's not the problem. If you have an agreement and you go in and you take it out, why not? That's the best way.
What if there isn't an agreement? Can it be taken out by force?
Well, you're going to ask me these questions. I'm going to dodge them because I'm not going to talk about our military possibilities, plans, or anything of the kind.
And I'm just trying to get at how long is it going to take to achieve that aim?
I'm not going to give a timetable to it, but I'm going to say that's a terrifically important mission.
I'm not going to give a timetable to it because it is a terrifically important mission. Terrifically important to who? Because it's not even working out in his benefit either. You know what I'm saying? It's not even working out for his benefit because they're getting bombed too. His citizens, people, Israelis are fleeing their country as well because he's destabilizing their own country. This is who is in charge. This is who is really calling the shots and is in Donald Trump's ear like, keep doing it, attaboy. That'll show them. You've got to show them strength. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. Meanwhile, there has been no other country to join in forces with this. Not a one. Europe has created their own squad of people where they're talking about global issues and they are purposely leaving Donald Trump out of it. Because they know what they talk about. Not only is he going to disclose it with this man, but he's also going to disclose it with Putin. He's a disaster. This is who's really in charge. This is why we are in this choice war to begin with. This is why your gas prices are so high. This is why global destabilization is happening. Okay? However, I want you guys to understand that his own Party is being affected too. And they are beginning to revolt at alarming numbers, right? This is Megyn Kelly. This was on Megyn Kelly's show, right? And I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly, but the MAGA viewers.
Listen to the folks calling into the Megyn Kelly show, okay? Megyn Kelly show. Okay. Take a listen.
People are tired of the war. They don't want the war. They want him to focus on American needs and wants and gas prices and housing and the economy. And he's not doing that.
We're going to lose the election in November, all of them. Trust me. If he continues this route, the gas prices are so high. You know, working 2 jobs, we can still barely make it.
Right now, I'm averaging between $1,900 and $2,100 a week in diesel fuel. And it's just killing the drivers. It's going to put a lot of drivers out of business.
I'm just willing to bet the people calling in the Megyn Kelly show are necessarily bastions of liberalism.
Baby. And if that isn't enough, right? They're also upset. They're really upset. You remember those Trump phones that went out and everybody had to send out a deposit of $100? Do y'all remember that part? Well, they're finding out that they're not only are they not going to get a phone, they're also not going to get a refund. And they got an email saying so. Boy. But y'all just couldn't listen to the Black women, though. Racism is expensive. Just take a listen. Take a nice little listen here.
Today, we're here to introduce Trump Mobile, making phones in America. It's about time we bring products back to our great country.
We're going to be having call centers for Trump Mobile in St. Louis, so we're keeping our data onshore.
We plan to build phones in America. All of our customer support is in America. A lot of people are getting ripped off, to say the least, because they don't pay attention to their cell.
A lot of people are getting ripped off, to say the least, because they don't pay attention to their cell phone bill. Remember that. Are y'all following me here? Remember that part. He said a lot of people are getting ripped off because they're not paying attention to their cell phone bill. Listen to it from here. I'll back it up. Listen.
Is in America. A lot of people are getting ripped off, to say the least, because they don't pay attention to their cell phone plans. So I think we can do it better.
Hey, Trump supporter here. This goes out to Don Jr. and Eric. Where the f is my phones? I ordered 4 gold Trump phones in the summer. Now we can't get any updates on them.
Well over 500,000 people each paid a $100 deposit to get in on the planned and promised Trump phone. Not a single confirmed customer, though, has gotten one. This is a report from the IBT. Meanwhile, the website for the so-called Trump Mobile, which isn't very mobile, includes a disclaimer. A pre-order doesn't guarantee a device will be produced or made available.
And this is how they got their customers, because they banked on the fact that they weren't going to read the fine print, right? And because they are such good con artists, they knew to bury this one clause in the fine print. A pre-order does not guarantee that a device will be produced or made available for purchase. They never intended on producing a cell phone to begin with. All they wanted to do was get enough people to buy into this, to send in that $100 deposit that they've made like $52 million off of. Grifters of politics.
For purchase. I mean, that is just out there. A pre-order means not a pre-order. We just hold your $100 and we might never make the phone. They haven't shipped any phones. The company's selling point was that this somewhat gilded device would be made in America. You heard that in some of those clips. Now they say it will be proudly American. I guess that's kind of how the phone identifies.
Proudly American. The phone was no longer promoted as made in America, but instead it was proudly American and designed with American values in mind. What? How is a cell phone designed for having Americans' values in mind? What is it going to scream? If you're black, it can't be used. That's the only way I can think that it would have American values in mind, because we know America as a whole doesn't value the black person. Or is it going to say, if you're a woman, you can only use it when your husband says so? That's the only way that I can think that American values would be in mind, because again, we have people who grew up in the Jim Crow era that is making decisions for this country. Not progressives, not people that experienced desegregation and went to school during that era, not people who experienced what it was to not have the right to vote and now have the right to vote. No. Old white men who have always had the rights to everything and feel like they have the audacity to tell everybody else what to do, when to do, and how to do it. That is the only way that I can think it would have American values, but I digress.
It will be designed with American values in mind, but that's not how country of origin labeling works. If you're going to make something here or have it abroad, the mother of all tariffs president ought to know that. The phone reportedly now predominantly made in China. But again, that's if it's made. So far, the company now says, don't assume if you buy one or part of one that it'll ever be produced. So we don't know if it's ever going to be made or where.
We don't ever know if it's ever going to be made or where. It went from being created in America. Pre-order does not guarantee that the item is produced or for purchase, to now where the phone is going to be made in China. No one has received their $100 deposit back. They're not going to get it back. And no one has received this golden phone. MAGA, how is that for winning? How are you winning? I just want to know. How much of this is winning? Well, I've got a few voters here that feel a little bit different. I want you guys to watch this really quick. Let me refresh it to start it all the way over for you. Listen.
1 gallon, bro. Can we get it together? Can we truly, honestly get it together?
Yo, Trump, we get it. I got to go to work next week. I can't do this.
This economy is set up for people to fail. Gas prices are high as hell. Food is high.
This is why I get pissed off. Pump stops at 150. I'm not even at 3/4 of a tank. And here's the reason why. Because it's $5.50 for a gallon of freaking diesel.
$75 to fill my gas tank. $75. And I have to do it once a week.
Gas is $4.50 here in Kentucky, y'all. $4.50, and I'm in Lexington. I'm about to bring out the horse and wagon again. I can't keep doing this!
And you're expected to manage and be able to keep up. There's got to be a way that this system has to work better, because this is getting ridiculous.
The reason we're paying this much is because Donald Trump started a war. Someone said, how long will gas prices be high? He goes, for a little while, but it's okay. It's okay. It's worth it. Is it worth it? Tell me, is it, Donald? Oh, Donald, tell me, is it worth it? It's not.
$5 is 1 gallon. 1 gallon.
And there you have it. Hey, Ebony, there you have it. Regular American people that are trying to go to work, that are gassing up, and you get to see gas in real time. That man, the pump is stopping at $150. $150. Another lady said $75 per week. And I'm guessing she probably has an economy car, so it probably used to be like about $30, maybe $40 a week. That's a $30 to $40 jump. And that adds up. So let's say it's $30 more than what it used to be a week, right? So we got 30, 60, that's $120 more a week a month than it used to be. And that $120, that's somebody's electricity bill. That's some groceries. That's a cable bill. That's a cell phone bill. That's all of these things. But what we do know, voters are getting fed up. Down in Georgia, the governor has declined to redistrict, but states that they can redistrict after elections, whatever. But they are seeing record number turnout early. They said that with the second week of early voting underway, more than 230,000 people have voted. Because I think what has happened is they have underestimated the will of the people. And, it's like anything. When you try to take something away, whether I've used it or not, now you're trying to tell me I can't, it is going to invoke people to want to come out. And because the masses are affected by this, people who voted for Trump, people who did not vote, okay, people who voted third party, because they are so affected by it, this is going to be a revolt of this entire administration, of everyone that is in office that has been in lockstep with him. Mark my words. Just mark my words. It is coming. It is happening in real time. Meanwhile, they can't even have people to come to their rallies. J.D. Vance had a rally, and they paid people $100 in cash to attend. If that doesn't scream desperation, if this doesn't scream desperation, I don't know what does. Barack Obama ain't never had to pay nobody to come to his stuff. I done been to 2 or 3 of his rallies. Kamala Harris didn't have to pay anybody to go to her stuff. I've been to one of hers. Joe Biden didn't either. So much for those large crowds. But anyway, folks, I just wanted to give you guys a look and a scope at how crazy this administration really is, how deranged, how much of a nutbags are running this country. And I wanted you to be aware of what's going on. Now, tomorrow we're going to dig in more of what's going on in the voting scenes. And I told you the nuclear option is to wipe out the Supreme Court in political states, on the state level, to wipe out the Supreme Court on the state level. And we have to get active in voting judges. Don't skip that part in your ballot. Go see who the judges are and put people in there that are constitutionalists, have common sense, and are not bought and paid for by the Heritage Fund. Because I'm going to leave you with this. The author of Project 2025, which are folks in the Heritage Fund, the founder and CEO of the Heritage Fund has a PhD in African American studies. Let that sink in. They have learned our ways and our methods, which is why our methods now have to change, which we do see them changing. That's why we cannot, that's not true. Carry on. We have to change our methods and our ways. We have to get back down. The NAACP has to get back to what they used to be, where we have our meetings, where they can't infiltrate our meetings. They have learned our ways. They have learned how we organize. They have learned how we march. They have learned how we have mobilized. Most of the authors of Project 2025, go look it up, all have degrees in either African American studies or civil rights law. And that is how they have found loopholes to go in and grind us out. But see, what they're forgetting is everything that they have tried to do to us, we have survived and thrived. And really and truly, we just want to be left alone. You guys can thrive in your spaces and allow us to thrive in our spaces. And that is the problem. You won't allow a people to thrive in their own right, in their own spaces. However, you want peace in yours. It doesn't work that way. So we have to mobilize differently. We have to go underground with this thing. And we've got to begin to have meetings in churches. And although they go to these mega churches where these white preachers are, and I'm going to call it out. One church is called Vision. What is the other church called? That big church, Stephen Furnick, I think that's his name. Lord, what is the name of that mega church? I can't think of it. If anybody can think of that mega church name, put it in the chat for me. I cannot think of it. But these big mega churches, I know in North Carolina, in Georgia, that have these white pastors. I would love to see them talk about taking away the right to vote for African Americans who actually sit in their congregation. I would love to see them speak about taking food out of not only the elderly, but the disabled and folks that don't make enough money. I would love to see what they have to say. I would love to see them speak on the immigration, how they are, throwing them in concentration camps, okay? Because right now, our clergy is doing us a disservice. These mega churches that we have filled up because we're no longer going to traditional churches. And I'm going to touch on the church right now. So my church folk, hey, how you doing? Sean, you in here, boo? Because she in the church sector over there. What I have a problem with is that we have these churches, the Black church hasn't evolved enough. They're still in the archaic times, right? Where they think revival and laying hands is enough. Where that is not enough. We have to still take care of the very community that tithes in here. We have to show up to the schoolhouses and bridge a gap for those kids that may be fatherless, motherless, or they have, difficult childhoods. We've got to bridge that gap. We've got to get back to community. But instead, the Black church has sat on their hands and allowed these white mega churches to sweep in. Okay. Have allowed these white mega churches sweep into the very community, those very places where Black churches had a dominance, where Souls to the Pole was dominant, where not only was our faith godly, but it was political too. And we had a stronghold and we knew what we needed to do. We got activated and we protected our own, and we're no longer doing that. And now we're seeing the diminish of a Black church and the rise of mega churches led by white men and women who have been satellite mega churches all over a state, because you go and you see them up on the big screen. And yet, they're not talking about what is going on in real time. They are complicit as well. They are complicit because if you want to talk about the good book, then let's apply it to the good people. You cannot be afraid to be political because even God was political. You can't be afraid to ruffle certain feathers. Why? Is it because you don't want to lose your 501(c)(3)? You don't want to lose your tax exempt by speaking out what is right. But see, here's the thing. God is always going to protect what is righteous. And I have started to see maybe there may be a resurgence of the Black church. Because I remember as a young child being excited to go to church and having NAACP meetings at the church, right? And figuring out who we needed to elect to protect, uplift, and make equality just for people that look like us. Okay? We were educating our folks. And that is what is disheartening. It is so disheartening that we fell asleep at the wheel and allowed folks to infiltrate what used to be so sacred, allowed folks to infiltrate what used to be our stronghold, allowed them to infiltrate and then exacerbate it to where now it is a show. And I'm sorry. Ain't nothing like going to church and hear the foot stomping, the hand clapping, the tambourine ringing, the mothers of the church rocking. Okay, nothing but a piano and an organ. Good morning, Bar Dog. Ain't nothing like it. All of these lights and glimmer and all of this other stuff, oh, that's all great and fanfare. There's only a handful of Black-led mega churches that are actually getting to work. And we are doing our culture a disservice for it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, okay? I come from a history of preachers, if y'all don't know. I can get down when I want to too, Sean, okay? I can get down when I want to. I don't know if Thais is in the clouds, but he promised me he was gonna come over here just like I came over there. Or St. James is in the clouds, or Cruiser is in the clouds. But we are doing a disservice spiritually because our spiritual fortitude is what got us over that that bridge. Our spiritual fortitude is what got us in the Million Man March. Our spiritual fortitude, okay? Our spiritual fortitude is what got us the right to vote. Our spiritual fortitude is what created our HBCUs where we could learn safely, okay? Our spiritual fortitude and our ancestors is what got us to be able to move and shake and the right to exist in a country that hated us merely off of our color of our skin and the texture of our hair. When realistically, they couldn't last a day without us. Okay. And I said what I said. Anyway, it's been real, guys. We've been here 1 hour and 33 minutes. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Okay. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I hope you guys have a wonderful, hey, Ken. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Ken, I share you out all the time on my members only. That's where I share people out. But I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. For those that catch the replay, thank you for the replay. Thank you for the like, the share, and the subscribe. Thank you for all the new members. Oh yeah, Ebony IE. We have been in everything. We are the culture. They don't move without us. Please make sure you remember we'll be here tomorrow the same time. We try to learn something every day out here, and give you some political news you can use. But again, thank you for coming to Politics in Plain English, where we talk current political events, what's happening, why it's happening, and what it actually means. And until next time.